My family is full of multicultural diversity. I have family in Australia, Britain, Ireland, Italy, and all across Ontario as well. My background is full of different cultures and pastimes that I wasn't even aware of 2 months ago. I believe that my family's past from Italy is the most interesting part of my family tree, and together we are going through a cultural journey into my family history. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the settlers came to Canada from Italy, including my great-grandma and her family. The population that immigrated to Canada consisted of families moving because of poor conditions or poor living space. My great-grandma lived in a small town in Italy called Castelfranco, but left in the early 1930s to find better opportunity and to live a better life where they are not just farming. Mussolini had also gained dictatorship, which was a major reason why she left. They became refugees and moved to Sydney, Nova Scotia and started a family. The language was different and they had to adapt to speaking English. It was hard to get a good education, but they worked hard and started a family. My great-grandparents learned to overcome their challenges by working hard and learning to overcome obstacles in their way. They learned English and learned to adapt very quickly by communicating different ways. As the main industries in Nova Scotia were either fishing or coal mining, my family had an impact on the coal mining industry because my family owned a boarding house and a bakery, and are included with the 1.5 million people that have immigrated to Canada from Italy in the past 100 years. Italian immigrants have created businesses, restaurants, churches, shops, and ethnic neighborhoods that have helped to shape the multiculturalism of Canada today. Upon the Second World War, Italian immigrants who supported Mussolini were classified as enemy aliens who caused prejudice and harm to Canadians. In the mid-1950s, Italian immigrants were given low-paid, heavy labor jobs, which led to more prejudice in the future. This changed dramatically with the second and subsequent generations. My family from Italy split up, half of them going to Australia and the other half going to Canada. The USA was also thought upon by my ancestors as well. After all, they decided to come to Nova Scotia to start a better life. During the mass migration starting in the 1880s, millions of Italian immigrants migrated from Italy down to South America and the United States, with a small but significant amount coming over to Canada. The part that came to Canada was left doing hard labor as farmers and other seasonal work that was unimaginably hard to do. Jobs for major companies opened up, such as Canadian Pacific Railway, Dominion Coal Company, and Canadian National Railway, which brought workers into hard labor jobs. Italians started to establish neighborhoods that led to towns being developed and families to have grown, which has expanded the population and helped to shape multiculturalism in Canada today. The historical thinking concepts consisted of primary sources, ethical dimensions of history, historical significance, and cause and consequence. These HTCs help to explain why my grandmother left Italy.
My grandfather's last name is Vanier, and he is related to Jean Vanier. They were second cousins and were also good friends, too. Fun fact is that my grandfather wrote a book about how he recovered from alcohol addiction. Another fun fact is that my grandma used to be neighbors with Viola Desmond.
A majority of the Italian population in Canada is within 100-kilometer radius from the border. This is because of easy access to the United States, and there's also a better job opportunity. My family is part of the minority that went to the East Coast. The East Coast was easier to get to because by taking a boat, the cost was cheaper because it was less distance, and land in Newfoundland and Nova Scotia was a lot cheaper there as well. There are 4,000 more permanent residents in Canada than there were 10 years ago in 2009. Number of early settlers from Italy that traveled to Canada were very successful, which boosted their socioeconomic status and further pushed families and friends to join them as well. My family has expanded over the years. Now we have family in Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and Ontario as well. My family didn't capture a lot of their moments on camera because taking pictures back then was very expensive. But the stories that were shared made me paint a picture in my head and made me realize how lucky I am. I have a great family, great friends, great teachers, and a great society and environment to live in. I guess one can say that my place in history was pretty awesome.